And we're live. Ooh la la. Okay, here we are, back again. We took a little break, I guess, for a week and a half. So yeah, after the last live, the following weekend was pretty hectic, and we do apologize for not being here, guys.
Yeah, and for not giving more notice.
Yeah, and more notice. It was very. It wasn't exactly planned that way, but just kind of went that way. Let me just make sure that we're there. We are.
Live on YouTube.
I see us there. And what else we got? Just going to double check on Rumble. I see we got some people watching, which is fantastic. So you want to tell them about your fantastic weekend prior to the last live that you guys were stuck with just me. We had such little viewership. I said to Cindy, apparently they come to see you. So it's your show. Go ahead.
So I haven't been on a live since, huh?
And we haven't had one since.
Well, you did the one alone, yeah. Hello, check your pockets, Douglas. Interesting name. Yeah, no, I had the flu pretty bad for the better part of a week, and I was not getting up to do the live. Sorry.
It was pretty rough. But then she did the video.
Yeah, did a garden tour.
The last video we got out, which was over a week ago. We're really not making good time here.
We're so not on the ball.
I'm hoping we're on Rumble, guys. I'm getting distracted looking at my other phone here, trying to make sure we're on there. But if we are, great. If we're not,
if you're seeing us on Rumble, leave a comment, please.
Yeah, let us know. It's always good to we just like to make sure.
So yeah, we did a garden tour since then, and things are growing even more since that video.
It's wild.
It's like a jungle.
It is. It is very much like a jungle.
In a nice way, though. I like what we're doing this year because we're letting the grass grow up in between the raised beds instead of trying to weed everything.
Okay, so Cindy likes what we're doing this year. It's way more work for me, but because it gives me a whole lot more grass to cut. Joy, how are you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Absolutely. We appreciate anybody that drops in to see us and support us, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. Wild Huckleberry is a huge supporter of ours, and we try to do the same for them. And we encourage anybody that watches our channel to go over and see that as well. Okay, we don't really have anything planned for today because
surprise.
because we had the weekend free, and we basically did nothing.
Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves.
We went to a live a free concert yesterday at a rib fest local, like in a local town. One for Drax. Hello. We don't have a farm.
A tiny hobby farm.
We have we say we homestead, but we are on 1 acre, so it's not much, but trust me, watch our videos and you'll see what we can do with 1 acre.
Yeah, we do have farm animals. We
do have animals. We have gardens. We make a lot of use of the space. So we did pick up. You tell them. It's your thing that you got me to do.
Oh, okay. So I'm sure many of you know that there's local buy nothing sites all over Facebook for your area. And we were gifted, it's this cute little chicken coop that's got the red and white barn look. You can find it at the TSC stores, what we used to have PV Mart. It's really cute. It needs a lot of work, but it's really cute, and it will be good as new once my handy husband.
It's another chore for me. That's what it is. So we have
to be redone.
The top half is fine. I need to replace the metal floor. It needs to be painted again. They said it was only a couple years old, but this thing really seemed like it took the weather pretty harshly. So I have to repaint it, And the bottom, because it was sitting in some pretty long grass, the wood is fairly rotten. So I already bought some pressure treated 2x2s. So I'm going to reframe that bottom part and rewire it and paint this thing up and hopefully make it as new, because like I said, it was a giveaway, and normally to buy them it's close to $1,000, even though they're not meant for a lot of chickens. But what we do every year, we separate some of our chickens to get ourselves some a good hatching egg. So instead of having roosters with 30 or 40 hens, we'll have a rooster with a few hens.
Yeah, and, like the breeds. We separate the breeds.
We separate the breeds.
This year we did the Canadian breasts or the American breasts or whatever.
Exactly. So we do. And we still have Polish and Silkies that are separated right now. My normal job is I'm actually I work at an automotive company, a parts producing company, not a assembly plant. I'm a supervisor.
And we are from southwestern Ontario, Canada. And Robbie and Sonia, thank you. It is very green out there right now.
Yeah, everything's starting to climb. It was kind of neat because the other day when we did the video, I know Cindy had commented that the squash were not really climbing up the arch. And I went out there today and I was looking at them, and they're just starting to round the top now.
Yeah, I went out and saw like a whole bunch of vines that were coming out on the ground, and as I lifted them up, I'm like, oh, they actually go pretty high. And then I clipped them up there, and they're starting to do their thing.
They're starting to hang on now, so
yeah,
grab on themselves, which is really cool.
What's the temp? What is the temp today?
It is hot.
We're under a heat warning again.
Let me just check. Because for us it's hot. Let's put it that way. I know some people that join our channel, such as the Wild Huckleberry there, Robbie and Sonia. They're probably by now like 200 degrees Fahrenheit. But we are currently right now it feels like it's 41 degrees Celsius here. So if I get my trusty conversion chart that we printed off for this very reason, feels like it's 106. So
it's warm.
Yeah, for us that's getting warm for this time of year. I mean, this is our hottest month is July, August, but
it's fairly humid because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So
yeah, hopefully that'll provide a little bit of relief. So
and then everything in the garden can go even more wild. It'll be all arched over.
Yeah, but because we went to raised beds this year, I have to mow the garden, which is, of course, extra work.
Let me show you what I got. Yes.
Oh, what are you doing?
This was my surprise from the garden yesterday.
Oh, yes.
I was just like I said, hooking up the vines, and then I saw this, and there's a bunch of little ones too, and these aren't even on the cucumber plants that I planted first.
Hi, Donald, Lisa.
But this is a good size. Like, this is already too big for pickles.
Yeah, we've been getting zucchini.
Yeah, we got one zucchini, some beets.
Beets, peas.
Yeah, lettuce, of course, all the greens.
Yeah, all the greens. The greens have all kind of bolted, and now we're kind of waiting for some fresher stuff.
The squash is lots of flowers, a few squash starting.
Yeah, only 101 right now. Wow, it's nice and cool for you guys.
Got sweaters on, I'm sure.
Yeah, we thought about doing our live outside and trying that, but
we really have to try it some other time.
We need to try it, but it doesn't seem like a good idea when it's so hot. I don't think anybody wants to see me sit there and sweat. So glisten, yeah. So, just in case the kids are watching, because the kids went to a sleepover yesterday, so that's why we didn't really plan much. We basically spent the day. Well, yesterday we went to that free concert, and we were only there about an hour, and we left, came home, and did chores and stuff. And then today we got up and we went to a nearby city, and we did a lot of thrift store shopping because that's what Cindy loves to do.
It is, and we bought way too much, but it
We
was
did.
fun.
I need to get some pants. I'm down about 8 pant sizes, so they're getting a little sloppy even with a belt.
You need a new belt.
I can put holes in a belt. That part I can do.
So he's got a bunch of pants to get rid of too.
Yeah,
Nice problem to have.
yeah. There's no going back. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like that here too, Robbie. It's just the humidity is, it just doesn't make it comfortable. Same as getting anything done outside. I went and I bought how many did I buy? 18 post spikes, 4x4 post spikes, because I plan to start another building. I think this will be my last one. I think I plan to do an 8-foot long or 8-foot deep and about 60 to 65-foot long aviary. So
multiple.
Yeah, multiple. Break it into about 4 or 5, and at the very end, I think I'm going to do to close the very end part in for my tractor. So instead of doing separate buildings, I think the one end I'm just going to close it in. That'll be my drive port, or my whatever you want to call it, to put my tractor in, and then everything else I'll break it into smaller sections so that the turkeys and the Polish and things like that. Speaking of the turkeys, I've got 3 toms now. I started with 4 turkeys.
Oh, he's always had 3 toms. He just knows it now.
Now I know I have 3 toms. I'm just watching that 4th one like, you better not start to puff up and do your dance, because I don't want 4 males.
That one has a much lighter color though.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's a female.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm going to have 2 for dinner, and then 1 for breeding. Although I might keep 2, or we'll sell 1 or something. I do 3 males is obviously way too much, especially with just having the one female. At least what I think is now 1 female. I'm sure hoping, fingers crossed, because I don't want all males. I don't want to have to buy more. I want to be able to hatch some.
So you were saying it was too hot to work out.
Too hot to work outside. So I've got these spikes. I need to go buy the posts. I think this should be a pretty simple build, because I'm only going to do half walls. The rest I'm going to do wire, and then divide, like I said. Then I have to think of a way that's convenient to close it off in the wintertime. Something I can just kind of clip on, or something along that nature, because I don't want to keep screwing plastic off and on. Ideally, I want something that can be put into place, clipped into place, something like that. So I'm not just constantly putting holes off and on these little aviaries I'm building. 13 roosters. We've got at least 2 that I've seen in the bunch that we've hatched. They're starting to try to crow. So we may put them in the freezer, but I'm debating, because I might try to sell them, because they're those they're the breast chickens. So might be able to get a couple dollars for them. If not, I'll put them in the freezer. But we just butchered, as you guys know, 50 meat birds. So we don't really need the chicken meat if we don't have to. I do have to get the rabbits done though. I've got rabbits that are way overdue, and they need to be. They're just costing me money at this point, because they're at that point where they're slowing down size wise. So I've been waiting, because I'm dealing with a horrible case of ear mites again, and I need to try to get it cleaned up. I don't want to try to breed any does until I get this dealt with. So I've tried just using some ivermectin, but it doesn't seem to do it for them. And I've been trying to use some olive oil, which seems to help a bit, but it doesn't quite get rid of it. So I got to figure out something, because I want it gone. Other than that, the incubator I bought, I think I talked to you guys about. Hi, Tracy and Tim. Thank you for coming in, guys. The big tower incubator I bought, the what is it again? The Brincia. I have eggs that should be hatching I want to say in 4 days. That'll be the first batch. So I'm really curious to see how this turns out because I've never had this style of incubator, and I've always used the styrofoam ones. So I'm pretty excited to see what may or may not be the difference um, with the hatch rate. I'm also trying to do a dry hatch. I don't know if you guys have tried this, but because the weather is so humid right now, I'm not adding any water because I found my hatches were this last little while I was having such poor hatch rates, uh, but the eggs were fertile, but they were dying before they would pip. So I think they were just getting too much moisture. They were running out of air in the shells. So I got reading up on it and watching some videos, and it sounds like some people have a lot of success with just dry hatches. So they don't add any moisture, and I haven't been doing any moisture, and I've been noticing that it seems to run in the high 30s to 40 humidity inside the machine. So it's a test, but I'm really anxious and curious to see how it turns out because, for instance, the pheasants, we've had all kinds of eggs and we've managed to hatch some, but the hatch rate is extremely poor. I don't know what it is. They're fertile, but they just don't hatch. So I'm really curious to see how it turns out with this machine. Anyway, Madeline, Jesus does love me, and he loves you too, and everybody else. And thank you for bringing that up just to remind us all. Yeah, so it's nice to kind of be back. I mean, like I said, we missed last week, and it almost felt strange.
You never feel prepared.
We're never ready. Fortunately, I can just ramble on. But,
it is fortunate because I go blank.
That's like the last video. You don't see how long that video was, guys. Cindy gave me so much footage. She said she had nothing to say.
And he used it all.
She had nothing to say.
I didn't.
But it was
a tour.
I think I had 40 or 50 minutes worth of material I had to get down. I think it was still over 20 minutes. But
it didn't have to be though.
She did a great job.
Thanks. So yeah, one of these days we do have to try a live outside, but another reason we can't do it right now is the flies here are horrible.
Yeah, outside. It's very, very bad. One thing I did do this weekend is I changed the radio in our caravan because, as you know, we have 4 kids, so we have to have a minivan. So I changed it to an Android, I think they call it Android head unit with the backup camera and all that stuff. So it took some finagling and hooking up. So that chewed up a bunch of my time. But I had the doors open while I was working on this thing. And then we went to go somewhere, and I swear the van was full of like 20 or 30 flies, maybe more. It was just absolutely horrible. We're going down the highway at 110 with all the windows open, hoping that these things will come out. Now, it's amazing how well they stay put. So
yeah, they just moved to the back, and then as soon as the windows closed, they all came back up.
Came back up to the front to harass us. So
yeah, they're everywhere. Like different spots in the yard, there's just hordes of them.
Yeah, even with the feed, I thought that was interesting because you expect it with manure and things like that, but I find they're swarming like even the feed dishes. It's very crazy. We need more bats, I guess, and stuff like that.
No. I hate bats.
We have bats that go up and down our laneway. I haven't paid attention to see if they're there this year, but every year we've been here, and it's been, 11 years?
Yeah. We've had 3 get in the house over those 11
somehow
years.
Somehow they've gone in the house a few times. But they can get in, as you guys know, they can get into any little crevice. And we have a board and batten home, so it's not hard for them to do. But they usually go up and down the lane, and I think it's cool. They're eating how many thousands of mosquitoes or whatever they can get their little fangs on. But Cindy's had some encounters that anything that hisses at her, that's why she doesn't like my geese. Any animal that hisses at her, because she had one back cornered outside the one day, and it hissed at her. And of course the geese hiss, and
it hissed, and it had fangs, and it just looked monstrous. It was terrifying.
Meanwhile, all I want to do is eat the bugs. But anyway.
Yeah. hate rats.
So
Sorry to anyone who likes them.
We're a little. We have to agree to disagree on that one. So anyway, I just peek at my phone once in a while just to make sure I'm not missing any messages this time, because there has been the odd occasion where we miss comments because people it doesn't show up on the Restream platform, but it shows up on the phone.
Thank you, Tracy, for the comment on the garden. It's going really well this year because my strategy is like, put the seeds down and then may the odds be ever in your favor, because it's survival of the fittest. I don't really do any of these hacks or any of these things to make anything thrive. I just don't have time.
No, but they do well, and I think part of it is because we have an abundance of rabbit manure and quail manure that we put in our raised beds, and I think that really gives them quite the encouragement to take off. So
it works, thankfully.
But everything's done well. That's one thing about clay soil. Like, it's hard to work with, but when things take, they really take. Like especially the stuff that's in the ground, like the elderberries and any of those bushes and trees. Once they establish themselves, it's like there's just no stopping them. You go like 10-15 minutes from here where my in-laws live, it's sand, and they're constantly fighting to keep enough moisture in the ground and things like that, where we don't have that.
We have the opposite problem.
Yeah,
when it rains a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we need the raised beds for a lot of things.
Yeah, we get sometimes last few years, we never used to, but the last couple of years we get some pretty, I want to say, like some flash floods, and the whole property almost, probably a good 50%, maybe 75% of floods. Fortunately not the house, but it comes very close because we have to run 3 sump pumps when those events occur, just to keep it out of the house. So it's always stressful.
Yeah, but everyone has to deal with their own
yeah.
soil types and the problems that come with it. But exactly. As long as it grows things, right? Yeah.
So, what is going on otherwise? Yeah, so like we had mentioned earlier, the kids went for a sleepover. Hi guys, just in case you're watching.
First time ever.
They went for a sleepover, so that was a break for us. But at the same time,
missed them.
Mama missed them a lot. I'm used to not seeing them all day.
I'm coming to get you soon.
But Cindy, since she homeschools and since the kids are always home, it's hard there's a bit of a separation anxiety on both sides, from Mama and the kiddos. Yeah, it does. It depends a lot. And the grow zones, they seem to be changing a little bit as the pattern seems to be changing a bit.
I wish we had a longer growing season, but at the same time, nice. When we come to the end of our growing season, we feel ready to be done because everything comes at once. And
yes,
and it's preserving.
So the one thing every year, and I've got some ideas, but I haven't followed through with them yet, is we have big trees, big bushes. I'm not sure what you want to call them, because they die off because of the wintertime. They don't survive, but then they come back up every year. And I cannot seem to get the figs to ripen before the growing season is done. We always get lots of figs, but they just don't get ripe. So I've had some ideas where I'm thinking about maybe putting up like a greenhouse around them. They're in the ground, so like not an official greenhouse, but like a structure of some sort with an open roof, because I don't want them to get baked like they would if they were stuck in a greenhouse all year, but just something that traps the heat in the sides and maybe warms them up, but allows that escape.
Just a thought, but what if on the backside of the aviary you're going to build it's going to go alongside them with like a reflective material?
And that was kind of what I was in my head. I was thinking, even if I painted it black, just something that draw the heat. I want to get caught up here. Prasad, the weather in Canada, and hello to you, by the way. It's very warm. It's 41 degrees Celsius is what it feels like, or 106 degrees Fahrenheit.
At least our little part of Canada.
At least, yeah, where we are. MB Heritage Farm, very glad to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, there's a few channels in the chat, guys. If you get a chance, definitely go and check them out, okay? And if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up while you're here, and if you're interested in following what we do here on this 1 acre green space that we have going on, at least for 6 months of the year.
And it's white space.
And it's white space, yeah. And that can be even more fun. If you want to check out those videos, definitely subscribe and come back and visit us.
Yeah, and check out the banner on the bottom for the lineup for the rest of the lives.
Yes, and we still have to.
Today.
There's still one that we needed to add. Was it Rebecca? Rebecca, are you on at 3 o'clock? Is that? I want to say it was. I wrote it down. I don't know where I wrote it. I think it depends on the time zone, but I think she was on the hour before, prior to ours. If you can just confirm that, Rebecca, we'll try to make sure we get on the ticker here and change that just to make everybody aware as well. So anyway, nothing else amazing going on. We're still selling the odd birds.
Which is good because we have more coming.
Yeah, I got a lot of eggs in the incubator. It's kind of get late in the year. I don't want to get stuck with them either, especially the silkies and the Polish and things like that. I don't want to get stuck with them, right? Because they're obviously not something I'm not gonna put them in the pot or.
So yes,
she's on at 2 Central Time, so 3 o'clock Eastern. Okay, so she is on the hour before us. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of silky eggs due to hatch.
I need to make a note
because we did sell out all of our silky chicks, and I do have somebody who's already wanting to know when they hatch, so they've been selling nicely. But yeah, we went through a spell where our one hen went broody and she stopped laying, and then she started again, and 2 more started at the same time. So now we're getting quite a few eggs.
Yeah, now we're getting too many.
No such thing.
They're
still eggs. We can eat them.
Yeah. Problem is we get so many quail eggs as well. We don't eat a lot of chicken eggs here because
we do. We just get way more than.
Well, I mean, we sell
chicken eggs. Eggs in general.
Hi, John. Welcome in, bud.
Hi, John.
Yeah, the chicken eggs they sell, so we end up eating the quail eggs or the odd silky eggs or whatever. So yeah, Rebecca's at 2 p.m. Central Time or 3 p.m. or Eastern Standard. Okay, I'm gonna get that added on to our thing there. Hey, John, I like that last video you did with the weeds. I mean, it's very true. If you get a chance, guys, go back and check out John's last video. I know Lyle Huckleberry did. I see they commented, but John did a video on using the weeds to break up his soil, basically work it in and things like that. And it's I kind of wish I would have thought about that when we were actually tilling the dirt here before we went to, because we pretty much switched to all raised beds except for the strawberry patch and some of the berry bushes and things like that. But because we've always tossed them to the chickens. Whenever we weed, we throw it all to the birds, and they kind of just scratch through it and peck away and eat it, whatever, compost it. So, but yeah, I guess we could have always just been tilling it in. Might have helped a little bit in the long run. Jesus himself. Well, we're just doing a live here, but hello, welcome in. The audio is not that good. Oh.
Anyone else experiencing difficulty hearing us?
Yeah, let us know, guys, if you're having any issue with the audio. We're sitting back a little bit further than we usually do because we're trying to get a little better shot of Cindy, so she's not just stuck behind me. What's it about? We just kind of hang out, talk. We kind of will answer any questions. We're on 1 acre. We have animals, we have gardens, and we just like to make some conversation and meet some new people.
And there's a lot of great homesteading channels in the chat, so check them all out.
Absolutely. So as you saw the ticker there, and I don't recall if I have other.
So that's the lineup for the lives, but there's also a bunch of others who are not doing lives but have great channels.
Exactly. So if anybody has any questions, definitely let us know. A lot of room sound. Oh, it could be the fans. It's pretty darn hot here. Yeah, so sorry about that, guys. If it is a little, yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out later. Maybe it could be something different going on today. Hopefully it's not too horrible. Yeah. All right. What do we know? What else we got? So the elderberries. If you saw the elderberries in the video that Cindy did, we are going to have quite a pile this year. Now
Way more than we can use.
We did make syrup last year, and I've always wanted to try the pie, but of course I'm not touching pie these days. So
yeah, I didn't realize that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from the recipes I've seen, the elderberry syrup is good for like 3 months in the fridge, and I don't know if you can can it.
Does anybody know?
Because
can you can elderberry syrup to keep it longer? There's the question. Yeah. The question for you guys.
But even that, how much can you really use? Because you'd make it at the beginning of cold and flu season, and then.
But I wonder if it's the kind of thing you could add to like shakes and things where.
I suppose.
Add a bit of health, right? Yeah, Rebecca, we are in Canada. We're in Ontario. We're very close to the Michigan border.
Yeah, we did right down.
Yeah, we're in the part of Canada kind of comes way down there. The lakes around us.
Yeah, we're gonna have way too many elderberries, so we might sell some. We're gonna have lots of autumn olives, which is neat because that's a superfood as well, and you can just eat that right off the tree.
Yeah, the kids enjoy it. Any of the berries that we grow here. Oh, we did get some berries this year. The first time we had them, they were really yummy. Mm-hmm. The gooseberries, right?
Yeah, I swear that I've tasted that taste before, but I've never had a gooseberry before, so.
It's very familiar.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Anybody of anything, because it's driving me nuts every time I try it.
We had planted gooseberries. We planted what, 2 or 3?
We planted 2.
We planted 2, and then we had come across. Actually, my mother-in-law had got 2 that were being given away. Still in the pot type of thing, but they were full of berries. They just weren't ripe yet, and we planted them in our yard, and they took right away, and the berries developed and everything. They were looking fantastic, and but it was first time getting to have some, and we were really impressed with how they taste. So
yeah, the kids really cleaned it out.
Yeah, I went looking for some. I couldn't find any.
We had lots of berries, and we thought they'd be the green variety, but they actually turned out to be the red ones.
Yeah,
they were good.
Yeah, these were red. Yeah,
but it reminds me of something.
Yeah. So there's 2 questions for you now, guys. You're supposed to be asking us questions, but we're going to ask you questions. So can you can elderberry? And what is that taste? Those gooseberries, what do they taste similar to? Because there's something there that we all kind of thought, could have swore we've had these before, but we haven't had them. So there's something similar.
So now we just wait to try currants and goji berries because we've never had those, but we do have the plants planted.
Yes. I don't know that we'll see any of those for a while. We didn't get any flowers this year on those. The only thing we have blueberries coming. We had haskaps. We had a lot of strawberries. We've got all kinds. We've got a pile of pears and a variety of different apples coming. The trees are full. The only thing that I was a little disappointed, the plum tree we have, it was full of flowers, but by the time they fell off and there was no fruit. So I don't know if that was just maybe their pollination issue. I'm not really sure. Maybe you have to have two. I guess I really need to look into that. Maybe there's nothing close by that can pollinate it.
Mm-hmm. And the apricot trees, we were waiting for that to fruit as well.
Yes, because we've got 4 apricot trees that we had started from seed, so we don't really know what to expect from these trees, whether they'll be good fruit or whether there'll be any fruit, but they've really taken as well.
Gooseberries are tart. Yeah, I remember reading that, so I was really pleasantly surprised that it wasn't nearly as tart as I thought.
Did not seem, like they didn't seem tart. They weren't super sweet though either, so I guess maybe they weren't tart.
They were pleasant.
Yeah, but it was nice, unexpected.
Mm-hmm. And I thought I had to wait for them to get really red, but then I read that they just had to be squishy enough, and then I got to them before the birds did, so that was good.
Yeah, that was good. So that's I guess that's the only thing new going on out there.
Yeah, we didn't get any mulberries this year, I don't think.
No, I don't know what happened because there was mulberries on the tree, but I don't know if they could. I think, but they don't last, right? They only last a few days. So I'm thinking that they were there and gone.
Rhubarb.
You know what? That might be.
Oh, I'll have to, if I can get a hold of another one out there, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Maybe that's what it is, John.
Nuts.
Like rhubarb's definitely tart.
Yeah.
But
Flavor.
but it could be the flavor. Yeah, because like I said, we were just surprised because like for one that we were surprised we got berries since we just put these things in the ground, and then that they were actually quite pleasant. At least we thought they were.
Mm-hmm. We also have blackberries coming along and grapes.
Yes, and blackcaps. At least that's what they call them around here. They're a wild raspberry. They're red, but when they're ripe, they turn black.
And the regular raspberries.
Yes, we have regular ones that we got recently as well. Yeah, getting them before the birds and animals. That's totally true.
Especially the blueberries and the hascaps. We have to keep an eye on the blueberries.
And we should put the effort in and put some netting on or something like that. But so elderberry juice from the farmer's market.
That would add a definite health benefit. Very neat.
Yeah.
It would change the flavor too. Cool.
Actually sounds quite yummy. Yeah. So, but we could benefit from putting on some nets and stuff like that, I guess.
It's just such a big area.
That's the problem. It kind of we go once a year as a family thing. We go once a year. It actually is coming up very soon to go blueberry picking at a local farm. And this place is acres and acres of blueberries. And you look up and you're inside this big net. And I always think to myself, well, that's one way to keep the birds out, right?
Well, it's grown over the years because like I've been going for decades, and they used to just have these things that fired off cannons, that fired off shotgun shot sound to scare off the birds. But now they put up the netting.
Yeah. And I always think to myself, oh, that's what we need. But you can fit our whole property into this area quite simply. But but yeah, it's definitely got to be a lot of work because these things they're massive. But anyway, I always think of that when I go blueberry picking. I always think about it. That's what we need.
It is what we need. I'm sure they have a fortune invested in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Hello, Ice Kareem.
Hello, welcome in. Yeah. So what other trouble are we up to? I don't think anything really.
No, it's just work.
Work. Yeah.
We have chickens getting out that we had to deal with, or Bert had to deal with today.
Yeah, the chickens got smart. We the one area that's fenced in out in the front yard. It's all fenced, and then I have a chain link gate that I use to go in and out. Well, they've suddenly got wise to that, and they've been perching up on the gate and coming out and going wherever. Problem is, as you guys, some of you would know, we live on a highway, so we don't let anything roam. We got a couple things that roam around, but not much, because some of them, there's one chick in particular that she just goes between
knows where she's
she
going.
knows where she's going. She goes and spends part of the day with the goats, and then goes back and spends part of the day with the other chickens. But she just kind of lets herself in and out, and she doesn't go anywhere else, which is fine, because we don't mind having them run around and take care of ticks or whatever they come across. But these other chickens, they were starting to wander off into the neighbors' yards and out the laneway and things like that. So I had to find a way to stop them from perching on this gate. So what I did is I actually put up a couple pieces of steel and then ran a wire across, so they won't perch on there anymore, because they'll fly up and either hit the wire and kind of get just bounce back, or they'll go to try to land on the wire. Of course, the wire's not it's not going to let them perch on there. So hopefully that takes care of it.
Yeah.
Welcome in, Captain Apache.
Yeah, we were also getting a rooster out with that, and we do not want roosters out.
Cindy doesn't like the roosters out. Nice. That's great. I'm glad you were at one of our other lives. It's nice to see people come back. We really do appreciate that. Yeah, Cindy's not a fan of the roosters. So
no, but the geese are worse.
She loves my turkeys.
I like the turkey. They're okay. They're getting huge. They're a little intimidating, as nice as they are. They're just getting so big that it's intimidating.
And they're not nearly full size yet. But
really?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Good thing they're nice. And considering there's 3 toms, it's a little scary.
Like me. Dry. Doing so much talking. What a load of rhubarb. What? So, speaking of rhubarb, we did harvest some, but we've stopped and we're kind of letting it go. Asparagus. Asparagus, we're still getting some, but I've kind of let it. I've been letting it kind of go now. Let it go to seed. We want to get some more plants. We have seeds, but I hear it can take a long time for rhubarb to establish from a seed. Maybe you guys know if that's true or not, but so we think we might have to buy roots. There is a nursery nearby that sells dormant roots, and you can plant them and maybe have more success that way.
We might have to rethink the location, though, because we never know if we want to change that.
Yeah, maybe.
Because there's consideration to whether we're going to adjust where the coop yard is.
Yeah, the one coop on the side of the property, we're debating about adjusting the building or changing the building. And Cindy's been kind of talking about maybe putting up some kind of like cabin type.
I said tiny home.
She said tiny home. I think
He said bunkie. I don't even know what a bunkie.
I think a bunkie type thing would be more appropriate, only because I think a tiny home, just having to deal with all the what do you call it, permits and rules and regulations and baloney that I don't want to have to deal with. But maybe we'll see. Could just park a trailer there.
I know, that'd be a lot easier than building a bunkie.
Maybe. Bunkie might be better insulated though. Trailers are pretty thin, right? Not much to them. So, what do you guys got? Any questions today? Got a few people kicking around in the chat. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. Come back and see us. We try to do this every Sunday. I say that, but we did miss last Sunday. And we try to do at least one video a week, but again, we slacked off this week, which is, I actually get very disappointed in myself when that happens, but it doesn't bother Cindy at all.
It does. The animals are fed. The children were fed.
Cindy's like, whatever, it's YouTube. Who cares? I feel like there's some kind of I have a commitment I need to fulfill, right?
Yeah,
So,
but there's all these wonderful channels. Other people are putting out videos. There's stuff for everyone to watch. We'll be back. It's okay. Other things have to get done. Life gets in the way, and I'm not going to stress over it.
it doesn't make me feel any better.
Well,
So, no tea today, by the way. We're drinking coffee. I look forward to the abundance of tea we'll have this year.
the mints.
Yeah, we have 6.
Four,
Go ahead, rhyme them off.
seven.
Seven types of mint that we're growing.
Rhyme them off. It was in my video. I don't know. I'm most excited about the peppermint. That's new.
Yeah.
We already had chocolate mint, spearmint, and apple mint.
Well, let me get this. Yeah,
That's 4.
Okay, peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint.
And then there's a
Apple mint.
Kentucky mint. There's a Kentucky mint and Moroccan mint and a Mojito mint.
Whoa, you got them all.
Woo-hoo.
So we have 7 mints this year. The plan is to dry as much of that as we can, to have a variety of different teas.
And they're all over the yard so they don't cross pollinate.
Yeah, we've got them very separate because we enjoy the different mint teas that we already had. So we were looking forward to adding to that. And
And they're so different, especially the apple mint. It's not minty at all.
the holy basil plant, which is called Tulsi.
Interesting. I have trouble keeping basil alive.
Yeah, we try to grow basil. We do grow it, but it doesn't survive the winter though, right?
No, it has to be brought.
We have to bring it in, and then hopefully it lives in our house. And then in the spring we can plant it outside, and it'll usually do better out there. For some reason, we have a really hard time getting him to survive in the home.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do like basil.
It's very good with chicken
Mm-hmm.
and in pizza dough.
True. Anything else?
Oh, I'm sure there's other things. I'm not much of a cook.
But aside from the mints, we also, of course, have lemon balm that we also have for tea. And what else? There's more in raspberry leaves and things like that. So instead of buying all that stuff, we try to grow it, dry it,
And mullein.
And mullein, that's another one. We grow mullein intentionally. They grow wild in the ditches and stuff here, but we actually planted it around our yard to have that as well. So this year we'll have quite a variety of different teas that we can have. And of course, they're healthy, right? There's nothing. They're all organic. There's nothing. We don't use any chemicals or anything like that. So.
And it's something everyone in the family can have because
the
it's not
kids.
caffeinated. The children.
We don't worry about giving it to the kids or anything. Comment on a video that said basil keeps tomato worms away. Really? We had tried dill to attract them, right?
And marigolds.
Marigolds.
Yeah, we tried dill to attract them.
Yeah.
That didn't really work.
Hey, the Aquatic News Network. How you doing? We didn't have much luck with the dill as far as trying to draw them away from the tomato plants. Now this year we've been lucky
so far.
Any year we always have tomato worms like you, John. We always have them. Especially, I don't know. So far this year we haven't.
We don't have many tomatoes yet, though, and the ones we do have are little. So
but I'm also curious if it's because they're in the raised beds. Because I know that the worms come from grubs, right? There's that moth, that big brown moth that lays the eggs in the dirt, and then they come up as a grub, I believe, and then they turn into this caterpillar, and so the cycle goes on and on. But I'm wondering this year if it's got something to do with the fact that they're not actually sitting on the ground, and maybe they're not getting into the raised beds. I'm curious. I'll have to see what happens with that.
Hopefully, and we are trying to crop rotate so that they're not growing in the same raised beds that they were last year.
I've seen videos. A buddy of mine did a video with those UV lights. Tobacco moth, yes. Those UV lights, they really make those worms pop, eh? Like you really see those. And I do the same things. I throw them to the chickens, and they run around playing chicken football, trying to keep the worms away from the other chickens. So
Yeah, we early on we had a short that did very well of him feeding one of those to the chickens, but we had some comments where people were very upset.
People got a little upset. It's nature. It's real.
Yeah, chickens have to eat too.
Exactly. That's the food chain, right? So yeah, but yeah, so far, knock on wood. I don't know. Like I said, I'm curious if that's the difference, and I'll let you guys know if we suddenly get them, because that's the only thing I can think of that's different this year is we have no tomatoes in the ground. Everything is in raised beds. So I'm really curious if that's the reason we haven't had them yet.
Yeah, I really hope we don't get them because I tried to space out the tomato plants the space they're supposed to be given, but they've grown so big that they're just falling all over each other.
You see this? The feed stores, they sell 4 to 6 of the hornworms for $10. Wow.
For feed?
Probably for treats or something.
Oh,
eh?
wow.
Reptiles would love them too. Yeah. It's quite the little. I guess if you can always harvest them and sell them. Yeah, make a few dollars to undercut the stores.
They're interesting, but so hideous.
Yeah. They do a lot of damage quick. Like John was talking about in his last video. Like when you get them, because besides that you see the poop, but next thing you know, you got like limbs, no leaves, right? Everything's ate, and it can be quite devastating for the garden.
Yeah, and they hide well considering they're huge. They really blend in.
You can tell that they take the color of the plant when they must get into their system. And that's what they use to camouflage.
Well, that is really interesting to know because we can suggest that to our kids. They want to start a little business making venture. They can go hunt for tomato worms and sell them.
Yeah, that's true too. Get rid of all those suckers and stuff. That's true. Other than that, we've got stuff that's been eating the leaves and things on the plants, but not horrible, I guess.
No, not at all. So far.
Yeah. The only thing that we didn't bother trying to grow this year was broccoli and cauliflower and stuff like that, because the last couple of years we tried to grow it, and it just seems to get so wormy. We don't want to spray anything on the plants because we don't want to be taking that into our bodies. But
I don't see myself trying that again because before, when it was in the ground, they wouldn't grow, and then in the raised bed they grew. But again, by the time they were ready to pick, they were just not appealing. And cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. That's okay. I'll just buy that somewhere else.
Yeah. Otherwise, so far so good anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'd love that, and that would help me too.
Yeah.
If we do have the worms, kids can go pick them, sell them.
Yeah, the boys. Well, I shouldn't say the boys.
Well, our oldest boy.
The older boy. He's what, 10?
Yep.
He'll go out and grab them. He enjoys looking for them. He kind of sees it as a challenge, but then he wants to play with them. So then they end up in a container, and I'm always like, oh, give it to the birds, give it to the chickens. But it'd be interesting if you could actually get a market going. It'd be like a little side gig for them. But then you have to be okay with having the tomato worms. But we've got so many plants, I guess it really wouldn't matter. Well, we actually do have some in the ground. I forgot because you stuck some under the pear tree and stuff. So
there's like 4 or 5 tomato plants under the pear tree, but they weren't planted there before. So hopefully nothing from previous years will come back up.
Brassicas. What's the brassica?
Is that the brassicas, the cauliflower, broccoli type plants?
Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what we find. Too many bugs in them.
Yeah. It was disappointing because the plant was growing so nicely, and I did nothing to make it happen. It just really grew nicely, the broccoli and the cauliflower last year.
Yeah, they look
Put
great
them-
until you went to harvest them, and it's like they're so full of worms, and it's like, ugh, disgusting, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Chicken's got a treat.
yeah, there is that. I mean, like you said, if you want to make sacrificial crops, uh, they won't go to waste because the birds will eat them, the chickens will eat them. So there is that.
Speaking of food for the chickens and stuff, the comfrey has
Oh
been coming
yeah,
up nicely. I've harvested it twice already,
yeah,
and actually the goats are eating it this year too, which they wouldn't last year. So
really.
yeah, that's
That what
good.
the difference is. But yeah, that's one of those things that took very very well. We just kind of stuck it off in one corner somewhere there, and it, it's come up. Like Cindy said, she's harvested it twice. It just keeps growing like crazy, so it's well established.
Mhm.
The other thing that's come up pretty strong again this year is the Jerusalem artichoke.
Yeah.
This year though, we're going to be smart about it. We're just going to leave them in the ground. Last year we tried to harvest them, try to keep them in pails and dirt and things like that, but they still went bad. So I think we're just going to take them and use them as we need them. I like them as like a chip. I slice them real thin and fry them in the frying pan and eat them that way. So, Story Sathy, how are you? Welcome in.
I did not realize that kale was a brassicum. That's
Yeah, I
that's
didn't know
good
that
to know
either.
because that's really easy to grow.
Yeah, kale does well here.
Mhm.
And I enjoy kale. We did try something different this year too, though, right? We did a kale, a different type of kale, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I don't know if it's what it's called, but it's like a collared kale and it has pricklies on it.
Yeah, it's like a cross between a collard green and a kale plant. Some kind of a cross um, that it seems to do well as well. Indoor growth. Keep the fan on them. Okay. Oh, yeah. We've had that trouble before with the flies and laying eggs in the soil. Very annoying. Cabbage netting. Huh. I did not know that, Joy.
I wonder how that differs from others.
Is that the same idea as like netting that you would just put on fruit trees and stuff? I wonder. It would have to be pretty small, I guess. Fruit trees, I guess you're just keeping the birds off, but you want something that's going to keep out the bugs. So I'll have to look that one up. I didn't know they had that. Yeah,
Very cool. Thank you for the information.
that's good to know. Definitely good to know. Thank you. Wow. It's almost 5 o'clock.
Yes, it is. That went quickly.
It
Thanks.
went very fast, guys. Thank you. All the interaction. It's really nice. So we got a couple more minutes. We'll hang out here until 5 o'clock, and then we have to head in to pick up the kiddos because Mama, like I said, is having some separation anxiety.
I'm
And
ready to get them.
you know, they drive her nuts, and then
They do,
she
but
doesn't want to be away from them. So
I'm sure I drive them nuts too.
I guess that's a good thing. Collards are brassicas as well.
Neat.
All are back. Wow. Okay, so you're way more on top of your
Yeah, you know your stuff.
your stuff than I am because I'm looking at these words going, I never heard that one.
I
But that's
seriously
good.
just
It's good
put
intel.
seeds in and hope for the best.
Shabam, welcome in.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, before we go, guys, anybody that's kind of sitting in the background here, please hit that thumbs up. And we'd really appreciate it if you're interested in watching any of our videos or catching our next live. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified. We'll try to make sure we're here next Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, Cindy was just telling me about that. You know what? In my own little world, I did not know anything was going on. But yeah, definitely.
I'll check out your report. Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, she was just telling me about it today. That's horrible. But yeah, prayers, definitely prayers for everybody affected, guys. Thank you, Robbie and Sonia. It was nice to be back, and it was nice to have Cindy back to normal. Like she had me worried. she got very, very ill and did not really
I got
do
to
anything.
sleep for a few days.
She slept for
That was
probably
different.
4 days and was having a lot of other issues, let's say. And but she was the only one, and the kids never got sick. I never got sick, which worried me because when somebody is sick in the house and everybody gets it, it's just a viral or a bacterial infection, whatever. But when somebody in the house is sick and nobody's sick,
It was good though, because the last thing you want to do is take care of sick children when you're that sick yourself. So.
yeah. But I still tell her I'm kind of worried. Just just in case, it wouldn't hurt to blood work done or something like that because
I feel good.
she's also, I've lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I'm one more pound, I'll be 70 pounds down.
Thank you.
But Cindy's also lost quite a bit of weight.
Not nearly what.
But because she didn't have anything to lose, but
Some to lose.
but she doesn't follow the same strict eating habits that I have right now.
Can't do it.
So we're glad she's better. And we really appreciate you guys coming out again with us and hanging out and chit-chatting. And would really like to see you again next week. And again, hit the thumbs up, please. And if you want to come back again, hit that subscribe button. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, but don't forget, 1 hour from now is Money Pit Homestead. 1 hour after them is the Wild Huckleberry.
So when they end. Yeah.
When they end. It just keeps rolling. There's a whole bunch of channels, guys. So